Welcome, this is Sananda. You'll not be surprised that I respond to this question initially by saying it's a big question, therefore what I say on this occasion can only be a partial answer. So let's begin with you as a being. So here I mean that you exist at some level as pure beingness. Shall we call that life? You are life. For you, ultimately, life, what life is something of a mystery. And let me encourage you to allow it to be a mystery. In other words, really as a preface not only to this question but to many others, it can be useful to understand that not to have a complete answer is not an indication of an inability or a lack in you. That complete answers are applicable in some areas, but in others, a complete answer is actually not going to be a complete answer. That is to say, a complete answer is going to be premature. A complete answer by its nature is going to be unable to keep up with infinity. And if we look at what life is, we're really talking about something that is infinite, that is unlimited. So we can then go on to say that your journey from that pure beingness, that unlimited state, to becoming human is a journey from the infinite to the finite. That's quite some trick to pull. How do you set about, in the first place, convincing yourself, an infinite being, that you are finite? Quite a challenge, quite an achievement, one might say. And I don't mean to be disparaging when I call it a trick. I don't mean that you are foolish in your cleverness. You know that to pull this clever trick somehow reveals you as foolish. No, not at all. What you're doing, in essence, is you are learning more about the infinity of your being by choosing to focus upon one small portion of that infinity. Now that small portion, inevitably, because you're dealing with a portion of infinity, will itself be infinite. Nevertheless, using a kind of holographic principle here, there can be very good sense in seeking to have an intensity of focus upon a fraction of the infinity. And in doing so, to reveal more of what the infinity is. It's a little like an artist creating a picture of a landscape. A landscape, a real landscape in the outer world, is, if not infinite, made up of an enormous number of different facets, different structures, different forms, different colors, tones, different feelings that are stirred in the human breast. All of this. And the artist cannot hope to put all of that in her picture, but in making the picture, she will reveal to herself and to others something about that landscape that was not known before. So you could think of the whole process of taking on human form as being a little bit like that. And from that you might deduce or speculate that ultimately your purpose is to be creators of universes yourselves, and And therefore you really need to understand from the inside, from the outside, upside down, right side up, everything you can about what a universe is. What is the divine principle that creates a universe? That divine principle is you, but you need to know how that divine principle operates before you feel permitted to create a universe yourself. And so this is you, as it were, dismantling a universe. I don't mean that in any sense literally, just metaphorically. Like a clockmaker learning to make clocks by dismantling one that is already constructed and putting it back together again. So all I mean by this is that you are giving yourself an opportunity to examine in fine detail, to slow down the movement of the universe by entering it, by taking on some of its forms, by experiencing those forms, by observing the action of those forms upon the wider universe, and so on. So this then we could describe as a kind of reason for. Not the totality, it's not all that your reason is for becoming human, but it gives you a working explanation of why you as pure beingness might choose to enter a world of form. And that can be helpful as we examine the detail of how you do it. Let us return to you as pure beingness. And from somewhere, somehow, here's the mystery. But within that beingness comes an instinct, an intuition, a knowing, a choosing, the discovery that a choice is possible, the movement towards a finite existence, a finite form. So let us say that comes about by you looking into the source of all and realizing that there is the beginnings of the possibility that you yourself, as the source of all, can also be other than the source of all, or in some way a new source of all. And that this realization is an immense joy. And that immense joy, the possibility that you are the creator, and that in being the creator in some way, you can experience yourself as other than, or apart from, or indeed with, but other than the source of all made in some way new. There really are no words ultimately for this mystery, so let's leave that and say that the joy at the possibility of being creator gives you the impetus to move into the finite form that you create. So there is a trajectory, a motion, a movement into the unknown, to make the unknown known. Follow yourself on that movement. You are beingness, moving into form. What are you going to do? How is it to be done? Now there are many ways of telling the next stage of the story. It might be that in that wish, that desire, you discover that the light of the all that is shatters into an infinite number of particles, and that those infinite number of particles are the building blocks, and that this universe in which you experience yourself now is what you have already created out of that infinite number of building blocks. This is your universe, nobody else's. And you continue You say, this is magnificent, but what is it I have created here? Let me explore. And so you continue your trajectory. You enter the universe that you have created. And you decide to be a small fragment of that universe. And in doing so, because you are choosing to focus upon a small fragment of what you yourself have created, you decide wisely that you must lose sight of yourself as creator of the whole universe. Otherwise, you will not be able to truly focus upon the experience of being just a small part. So let us presume it is this very universe, this physical universe that right now you are in, that is your creation. And of these particles of joy, stars are created. A beautiful form for your joy, the joy of your light, the joy of all that infinite number of building blocks that are you shattering with your joy, the oneness of the light of the source of all, into these infinite particles. And some of these infinite particles clump together to be light. That is what they are. And in clumping together, they take on qualities, characteristics. Is this other beings entering the universe, or is this you? Or is it both, and more besides? And so in this infinite or multitudinous, immense number of star beings spread through this universe of your creation, on your journey to the particular, that minute focus, you select one star, or perhaps a binary star, but in this instance, you have selected, you, the being listening to these words, you have selected the sun. One galaxy out of billions, one star out of millions and millions. Something drew you to it. Beingness, your beingness, felt for this set of experiences, you would love to enter a relationship with the soul, the beingness of this star. Now we begin to get a little bit more specific again. So, by engaging in a relationship with this star, you're also selecting from a range of possible kinds of being that you could be, the being that you have ended up being, a human being, your human self, you. How do you get there? How does that come about? So, now you begin to leave behind identification with the entire universe, identification with all life. So you're beginning to separate out, beginning to agree that there are other beings, that you are sharing this immense universe that you created with other beings. No longer do they seem purely aspects of the totality of the beingness that is you, purely the all-life that you are. No, you're beginning to identify with the separateness. And so you look for immense love. As you choose to take on form, you look for the beingnesses, the beings, the souls, who speak to you of the immense love requisite for helping you to create the form that is most aligned with that divine joy that brought you forth from the source of all. And so these we call the beings of light, your guides, your teachers, your masters. These are the beings you come together with and commune with and say, how am I to become the appropriate being the being that is perfect for this trajectory of mine, this journey that I'm making. How do I enter the world of time and space that I myself as beingness have created at the perfect place, the perfect time, to fulfill this purpose that is my being, this trajectory, this beautiful arc that takes me outwards, 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 and then back, 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 back into the source of all. How do I continue this perfect arc? And the beings you come together with, they help you to focus on the particular, the forms, the structures. You are light. How do you shape that light? And so with their help you commune with your chosen star, the sun. And the sun gives you of its light. You have taken light of the sun, or you have let the soul of the sun shape the light that you are. Both are true. And so you begin to find structures that match the arc of that journey outwards and back, from the source to the source. And these forms themselves, with the help of your guides, those friendly, loving presences of light, these draw to you, or draw you to. Those souls will become your parents, your physical human parents. At this level, your reach transcends time, so that all of the future and all of the past is available to you. You can see the past of those souls who are your parents, you can see their future, you can see your past, your future as a being. All is being created now. A narrative, if you like, is being created, a wonderful story, a saga. You through ages, on into the future, many different forms, structures. All of this is written into that etheric structure of light that you create together with the sun. Now the souls of your parents are involved, and many other souls besides, because you will encounter many souls. Even those with whom you have the slightest contact, at this stage you are connecting with them. You're communing with them, you are creating together, as if in a deep meditation, a communal shared meditation, you're creating the narrative of your life. It is not fixed, it's not set in stone, this is in light. It can still change as you experience it. It has that built into it. So when we talk about structures of light, this is not like buildings of stone. It's something different. It's more subtle. It's very beautiful. But it is there. And, of course, in all of this communing with the star, with these other souls, an immensely important soul is the soul out of whose body your physical body will be built. Here are the real particulars. And so this soul, this, your chosen planet, your chosen physical manifestation from which you receive those frequency patterns that are the substance of the earth and the substance of your body, this soul brings things to the next stage. Imagine yourself deep in conference, in the heart of the sun, the spiritual light of the sun, a multitude of beings of light with you. Many, many. Your guides, your teachers, your masters, the beings of light who support the structures of light, the souls you will encounter. And now, into this beautiful place comes the beautiful, beautiful soul of the earth. At this point, let me just throw in, it is easy and natural and understandable for you to think of Father, Son, Mother Earth. But if you can, let those be held very lightly, very loosely. The Sun is your mother and your father. The Earth is your mother and your father. In your physical father and your physical mother, the Sun and the Earth meet. So don't be tied down, don't be restricted or restrained. Enjoy those terms, that way of thinking, as long as it serves you. The moment it gets in the way, relax your grip. So here is the beautiful soul of the earth coming, offering you all the forms of the earth, the range of elements, the molecules, the cellular structures, all that is possible for life on earth. Every single atom has its own unique energy signature, as well as all of the elements having their typical signatures. This you understand. Oxygen has a different energy signature than helium and so on. But each individual atom of oxygen, each individual atom of helium has its own unique fingerprint as well. So even at this level, every single atom that will make up your physical body, countless billions, every single one is communicated with individually, drawn into that matrix of light that is beginning to form. And so all of the structures that will become your physical body are etherically in place already within the Sun, in this beautiful process of communion, the soul of the Sun, the soul of the earth, your own beingness, your guides, the souls you will encounter, and so on. And so at some point, you then move on again. And for sure, at the human level, the time of your conception can seem as if it's a bit random. Even if your parents are deliberately choosing to create a child, they may feel considerable uncertainty and experience considerable uncertainty about exactly when that might be. But at this other level, remembering that although the details of your etheric energy field, your structures, are established minutely, those details are not fixed in relationship to physical matter. And so there is a fluidity about the timing of your conception. There is scope, there is range for fullness of experience. But at the appropriate time, whenever that might be, conception occurs. The first cells of your body begin to manifest within the womb of your mother. And those first cells, they're of profound importance. They carry with them the matrix, the energy matrix, for all the cells that will form after. So you might think of them simply as being highly magnetic. They anchor, they draw to themselves and they anchor the energy matrix, the energy template for your physical body. And not just your physical body, as part of what is built into that matrix. Partly it's at the genetic level, but a lot of it is at a level that we could call epigenetic, that it is in the energy field surrounding the structures of the cells. Our characteristics. Those characteristics may be inherited directly from your parents, they may be inherited from further back along the genetic line, they may be absorbed from those souls you're going to be encountering and working with and playing with and exploring with through your life. But one way or another, what you find is that you're beginning to draw to you characteristics physical characteristics, emotional characteristics, mental characteristics, spiritual characteristics that are particular. Out of the range of the infinite, you choose to focus upon an aspect of that total spectrum, all with alignment with that divine trajectory outwards from the source. Outwards, 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 back, back, back. Beautiful arc. So this is where you find yourself right now as you listen. That you've been in this physical form for a while now. And those first cells, well, they've passed their characteristics on to varying numbers of generations of cells, so that the physical level, nothing of the first body you had within your mother's womb remains. But there is a continuity, a passing on, a conversation that happens, and you are the divine principle in that conversation. So what you think, what you feel, is constantly renewing your physical presence on earth. You are guiding your cells consciously and unconsciously to sustain and develop the forms that you negotiated back there in the temples of the sun, in the presence of the soul of the sun and the soul of the earth. You fulfill a multitude of purposes by being here on earth. You are serving the sun and you are serving the earth, so that the earth brings to you that range of vibrational patterns that form the elements that form the body of the earth, because there is a desire that these frequency patterns acquire a greater fluency, and that fluency comes through light, and you are the bringer of light. You bring light, more light, for there is already light here, but you bring more light into physical matter. And so if the earth serves you by providing you with a physical body that enables you to study in detail the infinity of possibilities that the source of all offers, you return that compliment by bringing light from the source of all to renew the structures of the earth, to bring enlightenment to the physical matter of the earth. This is your purpose. This is what you are doing. Enjoy it. And with much love, go well.